What is up, everyone, on this fine Sunday? Week 9 of fantasy football, NFL, whatever you like the most. Devin, how we feeling?
Honestly, this week has it's been a week, so as I so eloquently put on the main show, I'm breathing, so that's half the battle. Chargers play this week, so take that with a grain of salt. But
You say,
could be
is that a
worse.
good thing or a bad thing?
With the way they play football, it's probably a bad thing. But here's holding out hope we can actually beat the best team in the worst division in football. Because if not, it's going to be really bleak.
Taking on division leader Atlanta Falcons with
Yeah,
Cordero Patterson back.
yeah. I saw the news yesterday, and I was like, "You're kidding me," because our rushing defense, well, it is not the worst in all of like fantasy football. It's like second worst. We're god awful. We can't stop anybody.
Thought it was going to get fixed. Apparently not.
Well, to be fair, I also thought that our health was going to be better after firing the team doctor last year after the Tyrod Taylor incident, but obviously
Well, no,
that
that was the
didn't.
best thing to ever happen to your ball club.
Well, that was 2 years ago, actually. No, 100%. Sucks for Tyrod. Send him all the well wishes in the world. But no, yeah, the only thing that worried me coming into the year, besides maybe some regression on Herbert's part, would just be overall our health. Because if it's not one thing, it's another. If the defense and offense are all league, our special team sucks. If we're
Yeah.
winning games, we usually have a terrible kicker. It's the way of the Chargers. Every time we're good enough, something else happens. 94, we make the Super Bowl. Steve Young, it's the life of being a Chargers fan. There's not a whole lot that I could say outside of the fact that I wish we were healthier, but I think the defense being this bad is partially due to the part that we have not had a fully healthy unit since like week 1.
All
And we
right.
looked dominant in week 1.
You ready for the first question of the day?
Give me it.
Justin Herbert or Tua Tagovailoa? No specials, no nothing like that. Just
Tua.
in the same spot as you are. They're playing the Bears.
If Josh Palmer can't go, Justin Herbert is throwing to Austin Eckler, Gerald Everett, DeAndre Carter, who's also questionable. So it could be Michael Bandy, Josh Reed, and Keelan Doss, who we signed 2 days ago. I love Justin Herbert. I love the Chargers. Eckler's going to have like 50 targets this game. Everett's going to have 25 targets. It's at Keenan's out. Mike Williams is out. Herbert is playing with the definition of spare parts right now. So, and his left tackle's out. Our center is out. Lindsley, it's dire straits on offense right now. Go Tua. He's throwing for like 300 yards a game. His receivers and Waddle and Hill combined for like 250 a game. Yeah.
All right, next one. Point per reception. Good Lord. Mecole Hardman, Khalif Raymond, or DeAndre Carter?
If Carter plays, go Carter.
That's where I'm at too.
But if Carter doesn't play, well, Raymond is
you know more about Palmer than I do. Like, is there really much separation between Josh Palmer and DeAndre Carter?
Yes.
Okay.
Carter's probably the more explosive athlete, but Palmer has the pedigree going to Tennessee. He was drafted in, I think, the 3rd round. He's a guy that a lot of people in the Chargers brass compare to Keenan Allen in terms of overall skill set. Obviously, he's not as polished and he's not as proven as Keenan Allen, but whenever he's been healthy and Keenan has been out, he's averaged almost like 8 to 10 targets, I think. Like, he's been getting targeted a lot with Keenan being out. And if he's playing without Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, I would think he's north of 10 targets in this game.
Yeah.
If he can't go, then I think it's just going to be hot hand, Everett, Eckler, and then Carter's the lead guy in terms of perimeter threats. So let me pull it up. I'll pull up Palmer's stuff right now. I can find his stat.
While you pull that up, Kyle Pitts or TJ Hawkinson?
I'm gonna fire up Pitts. Chargers defense is not good. It's not chasing points because starting a guy in his first rub with I'm not confident in Hawkinson. I don't think Kirk and him are going to have a connection. I think this is a game where the Vikings will probably rely on Dalvin Cook, and I think Kirk's going to pepper Justin Jefferson. Thielen probably gets any red zone work. Hawkinson might score a touchdown, but I don't expect him to have the chemistry.
Yeah, first week in the offense, it's hard to expect a ton. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but can't just go with him.
So Palmer's had 4 weeks of 5+ targets so far this year. He has 1 touchdown on the season, and he didn't play week 7 against Seattle due to a concussion. So I think without Keenan, he had 12 targets against Denver without Keenan Allen alongside Mike Williams. So I would like to believe if he pulled up 12 targets with Mike Williams out or Mike Williams playing and no Keenan Allen, I'd like to think they'd probably target him 10 to 13 times in this game if he's playing. So I just think Palmer, because the options for that start sit were who?
DeAndre Carter, Mecole Hardman, or Khalif Raymond.
Okay. And Raymond is on Detroit. Josh Reynolds is out, right?
Josh Reynolds is out. TJ Hawkinson is out. Literally.
So Khalif Raymond, DeAndre Carter. What was the last name?
Mecole Hardman.
Hardman's
Mecole Hardman's out. I'm not considering Hardman. I can't. Not with Kadarius Toney now on the team because I don't know what type of role he's going to play.
I picked him up, dude. I picked him up in a league. Granted, I dropped Josh. I dropped Josh Palmer on his bye week because I was like, I need someone for the bench. I regret doing it now. Jamar come back. Hardman's been good this year. He's got 3 touchdowns. He's only had over 5 targets twice, but he's finished over 10 fantasy points 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the first 7 weeks of the season. I'm not saying he's a set it and forget it starter, but in terms of the offense and how they're utilizing stuff, Hardman's involved. Granted, he's not going to give you 2 rushing touchdowns a week, but even without the rushing production last week, he had 32 yards, 4 receptions, and a touchdown. So that's close to 10 points in a half PPR league, gives you 2 points. So if Carter's playing, I'm probably going to roll him out. I've seen him do things in that offense, even with healthy receivers around them. Like week 1, he was an actual factor for the Chargers. But for me, I would go Carter, Hardman, and Raymond. Personally, I think Hardman is a factor. He's a weekly boom bust candidate, but I think he could boom more often than we think he does based upon his history.
Somebody asked us DJ Moore or JUX2. Who is JUX? Am I missing something? Or am I tired?
JUX.
I have no idea who JUX2 is. I have to ask.
I'm assuming it's a receiver.
Yeah. I have to ask. I have no idea who JUX2 is. Chris Godwin or DJ Moore?
DJ Moore.
So really? Who's Carolina playing?
It doesn't matter who they're playing. It doesn't matter. Oh yeah, and I believe God, what's his name?
The Rams.
Their secondary's banged up, if I'm correct. Last time I checked,
Cincinnati.
Yes, correct. I'm pretty sure.
They just lost Chidobe Awuzie for the season.
Yeah, so yeah, I like Chris Godwin. I'm firing up DJ Moore, and I don't think there's a question behind it. DJ Moore over the last 2 weeks has put up insane fantasy numbers. Like, let's look it up. Back to the math.
Amon-Ra St. Brown or Kenneth Walker? You're probably already winning this week if that's your question.
If it's PPR, I'd go Amon-Ra. If it's standard, I'd do Kenneth Walker. DJ Moore. So he's projected for 13.5 this week. This year he's gotten over 10 fantasy points. Got over 12. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. He's been over 10. Well, he's had 2 bad weeks so far this year. Went 2.5 and 3.7 against the Rams and the New Orleans Saints. So he had Lattimore and Jalen Ramsey he was contending with in those matchups. Outside of that, his lowest output is 8 points. He's the only guy in this offense. Back-to-back weeks of 10-plus targets. Back-to-back weeks of a touchdown apiece. He's 7 to 6 receptions, and there's no competition for him in this offense whatsoever. Yeah. I'm going to go DJ Moore.
It is PPR with Amon-Ra versus Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker put up 21 points against Arizona last time out, or 19 points against Arizona last time, and that was with Arizona practically doing nothing. So I expect Arizona to play a little better this week. And with TJ Hawkinson gone, Amon-Ra just keeps going through the roof. The stock.
I think Godwin's interesting. It's the Rams, so I think Godwin's probably going to benefit from Mike Evans being. I don't know if anyone's going to shadow
Juju. It's Juju X2 is Juju. Okay, I've never heard it put it that way before, but that's interesting.
Who's the first option?
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore or Juju Smith-Schuster? Yeah, DJ Moore. I might lean Godwin a little bit over DJ just because it is back-to-back weeks of insane production. Maybe PJ Walker takes a shit.
Seriously.
I'm firing up Godwin everywhere I have him. I don't have any stock in DJ Moore, so take that with a grain of salt. Yeah. I like Godwin. I like Godwin's floor. I think Moore's ceiling is one of the highest at receiver in the league right now, based upon his situation.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
No.
Or Cordero Patterson.
Cordero Patterson in a heartbeat. Cordero Patterson over the last 2 years has been like the definition of a workhorse. Right. He gets the receiving work. He gets 20 carries a week. Like, if he's healthy, Arthur Smith is going to run him into the ground. CEH gets touchdowns because Patrick's like, damn, Travis is covered.
Let's see. Taysom Hill over Tyler Conklin. I mean, tight end just sucks in general.
Conklin just had a huge week, which means Taysom's due. And Kamara had, 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, 3 touchdowns. I almost wanted to say 4, but I'm crazy. Khalil Herbert, Jamal Williams, or DeAndre Swift. You know Jamal Williams is getting the touchdown, right? That's just how these things work.
I'm firing up Swift every league that I have him. Herbert is honestly borderline elite in terms of a running back currently in the fantasy landscape based upon his yards per carry and efficiency. David Montgomery's healthy, so Herbert's fighting for any touchdowns he can fight for. I think I kind of lean Williams. Like, Detroit's playing who this week?
Miami.
They're playing Green Bay.
Wait.
They played Miami last week.
Oh, fuck. I've been sick all week. Dear Lord Almighty. Good Lord.
Yeah, because Swift, I think... It depends on how you view this game. I think it's going to be closer than people think, but I do think Green Bay's probably going to hold the lead most of the game. I don't expect a positive game script.
Defense fucking sucks, though.
Detroit fucking sucks in general. Like, I don't know what we're arguing about.
True. You got me there.
Detroit's defense should be from Wisconsin the way that it acts like cheese, the Swiss variety. No Josh Reynolds. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown and DeAndre Swift versus the world. I think the game script favors Swift's skill set. I think the coaching staff favors Jamal Williams. More than likely, Williams finds the end zone. More than likely, Swift is more efficient with his touches because Jamal Williams isn't inherently efficient. He just gets to work in the red zone and it wins out. He gets more carries and they trust him. And that's the thing that Swift has not yet cemented himself as. So for 1 week, and Jamal Williams played for the Packers, they could be game planning to get him some rub. This is the Jamal Williams revenge game.
So when we said Amon-Ra over Ken Walker, the person responds and say, would you still go Amon-Ra, thinking about Jair covering Amon-Ra in Arizona having a weak run defense? It's like, well, yeah, I considered that.
Just the thing about Green Bay is their defense on paper is elite. They haven't been utilized to the fullest of their extent whatsoever. Like, look at last week. Stephon Diggs destroyed that secondary.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Jair's shadowing people in the way that we think Jair usually shadows. Granted, Buffalo's receivers are far better than what Detroit has right now. And for Williams versus Swift, flip a coin, to be honest. Like,
right.
Whenever Williams scores 2 touchdowns, he's a 20-point finish. Whenever he doesn't, he finishes around like 7 or 6 points. So if you think Williams gets the touchdowns this week, go ahead and go him. If you want a safer floor and a more consistent output, whenever healthy, I'd go Swift. Because looking at Swift's output in a full PPR league, we're looking at finishes. He's played 4 weeks this season. He had, in a week where he had 5 carries, Austin, he put up 16.7. In the last week when he had 5 carries, he had 14.3. Per touch, he's been borderline electric. Week 1, he absolutely took off. 3 receptions. He had like 170 yards on 15 carries. I don't know if they're going to give him more than 10 carries a week. I hope they do. I think it's their best chance to win. If you're chasing ceiling, I guess start Williams. If you want the floor and more of a consistent like wave of output, I think Swift is the guy. But if you need a boom week, Jamal Williams, more weeks than not this year, has boomed.
Yeah. Let's see.
Full PPR. Deion Jackson or Gabe Davis for flex spot. Deion Jackson is actually really interesting this week because he played with Matt Ryan and he got 10 targets. We have no idea if Sam is going to target him in the way that Matt Ryan did. So while Deion Jackson had an elite fantasy week, the 1 week he moonlighted for Jonathan Taylor, expectations should be tempered, which is why it's perfect for this question being in a flex spot.
I would go Gabe Davis. They're playing the Jets. Sauce Gardner is probably going to be covering Stephon Diggs for the most part. And we've seen that Buffalo just runs up the score. They could be up by 21 and they still throw the ball a shit ton, throw it deep. And New England just doesn't give up a ton of points to running backs. It's as simple as that. But yeah, Sam Ellergerson throwing the ball 58 times.
And another big thing with this for me, I'm leaning Gabe Davis. I like Deion Jackson. He's a good story. I think if he proves it this week and Taylor's out for a prolonged period, he becomes a just set it kind of starter if he's going to get that volume in the passing game. But Gabe Davis so far this season, he's averaging 13.6. You're looking for a flex spot. Odds are if you're starting somebody in your flex, you need them to be a stabilizing force. You don't need them to score 25 points. You have your starting running backs. You have your starting receivers. Davis is averaging basically 6 targets per game, like 5.5. Granted, he's not getting 5 receptions a week, but in weeks where he's getting over, like, With Gabe Davis, you need 3 receptions and he can win you your week.
Yeah.
Cite Pittsburgh, 3 receptions, 171 yards, 2 scores. Do I think it's happening this week? No. But do I think that what he did against KC could happen this week? Yeah. 6 targets, 3 receptions, 74 yards, and a score. Even without the score, that's a commendable fantasy week. And even last week, whenever Jair Alexander was sharing the same field, 2 receptions, 35 yards, 5.5 fantasy points. I think Davis has the better opportunity to Gabe over Pittman or Olave. And not at all. No.
I would start Olave.
Yeah,
Olave is just the guy right now.
Especially if you're starting Pittman, I wouldn't start Deion Jackson. If you're more confident in Davis over Pittman, then I would kind of slot in a Deion Jackson because they're going to vulture touches between each other, especially in PPR.
Chris Olave is practically the number one guy left. Michael Thomas is done for the season. I don't know if Jarvis Landry is playing or at what capacity.
I think Chris Olave is like top 30 overall in receiver output.
He's number 19 right now in PPR.
Yeah, he's a top 20 fantasy receiver. Yeah, Olave is getting the start.
Yeah,
100%. And I don't think you can bench Pittman this week. I think didn't he have a good week with Ellinger for the first one?
Let's see. 9 targets, 7 receptions for 53 yards.
Yeah, you're not beating Pittman's volume with a guy like Gabe Davis, but I do think with those 2 receivers, maybe you have the capacity to go upside at your flex spot. The running backs that are starting would be interesting as well. Because Deion Jackson put up 28 points, and it wasn't even just 10 targets. He had 10 receptions.
Yeah.
10 of his points came by receptions.
Yeah, that saved his value really hard.
And the week against Denver, he had 4 receptions, 13 carries. He gave you 13.1 points. Expecting Deion Jackson to give you 25 plus this week is just not going to work. I think with the floor you have at your wide receivers, doubling down with a Deion Jackson makes less sense to me than firing up Gabe Davis in a week where he's not going to see the top build corner for most of the game. I think Allen finds him and he probably scores a touchdown. So yeah, I'm going Gabe Davis. Deion Jackson could make me eat my words, but full PPR, big play receiver, the flex seems about right for him.
Kyler Murray or Justin Fields?
Kyler Murray, Justin Fields. And shout out, Tyler. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. So Kyler Murray or Justin Fields? Justin Fields. Yeah, well, the thing is, I love Kyler Murray. I've drafted him in far too many leagues over the last 3 years. Kyler Murray can get you a 30-point fantasy week, sure. But this year he's been sub 20 just as many games as he's been over 20. I'm gonna give you some stats on Justin Fields. Justin Fields he's
finished like top 5 QB in the past like 3 weeks.
And then Fields, he's 18th currently on ESPN, averaging 15.4 points.
Like I think Kyler Murray's gonna have a better week against Seattle this week than he did before because he has DeAndre Hopkins, but Seattle is still not giving up a ton of points to quarterbacks. I think. Let's see.
So Justin Fields, he's been like number 2 in quarterback scoring over the last I don't know how long it's been, but I saw a stat where it was like over the last 6 weeks or last 4 weeks, he's been like the number 2 quarterback in terms of fantasy scoring. The thing about Justin Fields is the legs. He's rushing for almost 70-something yards per game over the last 3 weeks, and pair that with 2 rushing scores the last 2 weeks.
It feels weird to say Justin Fields over Kyler. I feel like you can't go wrong with either. I feel like
I'm going Kyler. I'm going to go Kyler. I think for as cool as Fields' rushing ability has been, Kyler Murray can do the same thing. He just doesn't because Kyler is just as inclined to run the ball. He just has a better offense and maybe a better offensive line. But Kyler's a weekly 250 to 300 yards. And if he could finally pull his head out of his ass, he could start getting back to the 2 touchdown, 1 pick, 3 touchdown, no picks.
Yeah.
Because he's bound to have a boom week. Like look at his output against Seattle. He had his worst passing game of the season, but he put up 10 rushes for 100 yards in the first matchup with Seattle. I think if he's going to put up even 6 rushes for 50 yards, I think he has to be better than no touchdowns and a pick against Seattle this week. So, and they have Hopkins back. So pair that with Seattle's second. Yeah, I like what Fields has done. I'm not sold on it yet. Give me Kyler.
Okay. Let's see. What else do we got going? Romeo Dobbs. Oh, excuse me. Romeo Dobbs. AJ
Don't like
Dillon.
the guy, do you?
Or do not. Okay. Romeo Dobbs. AJ Dillon. Or Rondale Moore.
Is
PPR.
this like a Packers theme team or?
Yeah.
Nice. Rondale Moore.
All Packers all the time.
It's full PPR. So Rondale Moore for the intellectuals in the chat. Rondale Moore's been quietly having a decent fantasy season. Granted, yes, 2 weeks of production where it's 3.7, 4.1. He put up 23 fantasy points last week. And if you would have told me that week 1, I would have been like, Rondale Moore? Are you kidding me? Hopkins is going to draw whatever Seattle thinks is the best coverage. Kyler's going to have to throw it because Seattle's offense can put up points. Romeo Dobbs is the de facto one in Green Bay, but I don't even think Aaron likes throwing to Aaron Jones at this point. So I like Rondale over Dobbs, and AJ Dillon is like the ultimate tease of this season. I roster him in a couple leagues. If you're a fan of like 6 to 9 fantasy points a week, you start AJ Dillon. But if you want to win your matchup this week, I'm leaning Rondale Moore.
I'm leaning Romeo Dobbs.
You're leaning Dobbs?
Detroit is terrible. Oh, let me hang on. Tua. I would go Tua Tagovailoa over Geno Smith. I think Tua is going to absolutely annihilate the Bears. I know the Cowboys put up 49 points against them. I know 3 of those touchdowns were rushing by Tony Pollard, but I don't think they're going to run the ball as much with Raheem Mostert. Yeah, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Thank you.
They're the best. They're the best receiver duo in football, and it's at this point it's not close. Chase is out. The Chargers receivers, who I like to usually coin as like a top 5 duo, they are off the face of the earth right now. Evans and Godwin have been disappointing. As long as Hill and Waddle are on the field, Tua is almost a guaranteed 250 to 300 and like 4 scores or 2 scores. Yeah. Like he's one of the most protected quarterbacks in football right now, based upon the weapons he has around him. Geno could have a big week. He makes some killer throws. Kenneth Walker's going to eat in some of that production. And Lockett's not fully healthy. And DK, Seattle's not going to shut down DK Metcalf. But I think Arizona, in a way, is going to be able to play better defense than Detroit will. Or not Detroit, Chicago.
Yeah.
Tua's cooking with peanut oil, man. Tua is on a bender.
Yeah, I would slam Tua there for sure. I'm slamming Tua everywhere this week, almost over anybody not named Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen.
Yeah, or I think Hurts is above Tua still. I think Tua is like a top 10 starter. That's how I wanted to go.
I only feel weird about starting Hurts over start to Godwin, Palmer, or Kirk. I assume Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk, Josh Palmer, and Chris Godwin. Godwin's getting the start for me. It's between Kirk and Palmer. Josh Palmer is playing today. So Josh Palmer is now the de facto wide receiver 1 in the Chargers offense.
AJ Terrell.
Las Vegas is bad.
Real bad.
And Christian Kirk, for all of his warts,
AJ
He's
Terrell has
averaging it.
been ruled out. Just to let you
So
know. So Josh Palmer nor DeAndre Carter are pulling AJ Terrell this week.
yeah, DeAndre Carter could be the only receiver on our roster. I don't think AJ Terrell is going to be shadowing him. No disrespect to DeAndre Carter. He's the guy we signed as our return specialist, and he has receiving upside. I'm a big fan of DeAndre Carter. Don't get me wrong. I was pumped whenever we signed him. I'm not excited about him being our wide receiver 2 right now. But I digress. I think it's Palmer. He has the better quarterback. He's in a more in-demand role. I'm pretty sure the Raiders, as much as I hate their defense, they do have what's his name? He came over in the trade for Ngakoue over the offseason. He's a corner. Rocky Sin. I believe he's healthy. I think he's better. I think he's better than anybody they have currently out in Atlanta. And
I
Kirk
think
is
Trevor
great.
also, as much as Trevor throws the ball, does spread the love. And they have Travis
Yeah.
Etienne, and the fact that of what you just watched Kamara do to the Raiders last weekend, if you don't think Doug Peterson is going to try the same shit with Etienne,
Yeah.
Etienne's going to get a ton of receptions and carries this week. He's going to tear up the Raiders.
And like I said about Josh Palmer earlier in the show, the last game he played healthy, which was week 7 against the Broncos, he had 12 targets. That was alongside Mike Williams being fully healthy. So now he's got 2 weeks rest coming off the bye and the Seattle game where he didn't play. So the last time we saw him, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games he's played, Austin. He has had a low of 1 target against Houston. Mike Williams was healthy. It was a really weird game script. I believe we just led for most of the game, if I'm correct. But Jacksonville and KC, 8 and 9 targets. Week before Denver, 6 targets, and he had 12 against Denver. Without Mike, without Keenan, he's getting a minimum of 6 to 8 with the upside of 13 to 14. So just based upon volume, Palmer's I'm locking him in anywhere I have him. I don't have him anywhere. I'm an idiot, and I dropped him in a league. So I was like, bye week, whatever.
I think you could make the argument that Christian Kirk will also get 6 to 8, but
I think Kirk is a higher touchdown upside, I guess, because he's done it more often. But Palmer is due.
The thing for me is Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Herbert at that point.
I'm picking
Justin
Herbert.
Yeah, and Justin Herbert tends to air it out more, like further. And a lot of Christian Kirk's targets are kind of like out routes or slants, 10, 15 yards here and there, whereas Palmer's going to get fucking 30, 40-yard catches, like big play type catches. And Herbert's just a more accurate quarterback. So it's kind of hard to retarget sometimes.
You would think that Herbert airs it out like that. This season is a tale of 2 quarterbacks. His post-rib injury and Joe Lombardi being a conservative play caller have made Herbert into a bit of a out merchant at this point of the season. I hope we can air it out this week, but if that's what we're banking on with Kirk, it's the depth of target has been alarming over the last 3-4 weeks post rib injury, just because Lombardi our line's banged up, so there's a lot of factors to it, but we are not spacing the field like we did last year.
But short answer, Godwin and Palmer.
Yes, please.
That's why Eckler has gone crazy in PPR. Yeah, 100%.
1,000%. And that's why if you have Eckler in any format, Eckler's, in my opinion, the RB1 on the season. I believe statistically he is the RB1, but I think in terms of situation, I think for all the questions and warts he had this offseason being they don't trust him in the red zone, they have to now. He's all they have. He's their only
Austin Eckler
premier talent.
By receptions per week is 4, 9, 8, 6, 4, 10, 12. And now he's playing Atlanta this week. He's going to explode again.
Austin Eckler is who everybody wants Deion Jackson to be.
There you go. Pretty much.
Austin Eckler is who I wish DeAndre Swift would be used 14 carries a week, 6 to 10 receptions. Absolute monster. Absolute monster.
Eckler is set to have another 30, 40-point game, and it's not close.
Got some good running backs. Let's read this. So Cold X. For flex, what are you guys thinking? Deion Jackson, Kenneth Walker, Deontay Foreman. That is a beefy question, my friend. That is
Deion
tough.
Jackson's out. I'm throwing Deion Jackson out here. For me, it's between Walker and Foreman.
I mean, Coldex, do you have the format? Is it standard PPR, half PPR?
I hope you're starting like Kamara and Eckler in your other two spots. I hope your team's just stacked out of its mind.
Because PPR, obviously, Deion Jackson has some upside. So, Kenneth Walker or I think I'm probably going to lean Walker. Yeah,
Barack is leaving Walker too.
Walker had a down week this previous week. Chuba Hubbard is back, I believe, for Carolina this week. He's not. Oh shit.
No, he's out.
I rescind that statement. Walker has more competition for touches, I guess. They're both not going to give you much in the receiving game. This is just a pick your poison, for lack of better terms.
Yeah, Walker just flat doesn't get reception work. It's all DJ Dallas and Travis Homer. That's pretty obvious. Etienne and Henry. Jesus Christ. Good Lord.
My God. Okay. Love Etienne. I have one share of Henry. I'm never doubting that man again.
Good Lord.
It's hard to argue against back-to-back weeks of 118 yards from Deonta Foreman.
It really is.
Like, death taxes and this man just rushing for 108. I would be surprised if he had another 118-yard performance, and he's not giving you 3 touchdowns.
Let me look at rushing defense. Let's see where Cincinnati's at. They're 11th in yards. They've given up 1,000 yards, 1,005 yards. They are middle of the road in point or yards per carry, middle of the road in touchdowns. They're worse in giving up rushing first downs. Arizona is really bad.
I'm gonna lean Walker. Foreman has had 2 great weeks. Makes me kind of feel like he's in for a dud. Like, I know that's a shitty. It's not what you want to hear. I think Walker's usage is elite. I don't think there's any clear running back that's going to take away from him in terms of carries. I just don't see that happening. And he's literally scored a touchdown 1, 2, 3, 4 straight weeks, and he's liable to break one off any play.
Yeah, seriously.
And Arizona, while they are not the worst rushing defense in football, I think. So the Cardinals
have only given up 881 yards on the ground compared to Cincinnati's 1,000. But Cincinnati also has to face Nick Chubb on the regular.
Yeah, I'm going to lean Kenneth Walker for sure. I think Walker has the safer floor, a little bit better upside. Foreman should have a decent week. Yeah, Barack Obama.
Seattle's offense is better than the other two as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest concern is that Arizona's going to play better than they did their first matchup now that they have DeAndre Hopkins, and I think Gino has to pass more, which means less work for Kenneth Walker. But at the same time, in the first half, Kenneth Walker could break off a big one because they're going to be running. Negative game script probably won't take place until third or fourth quarter anyways.
You're betting on which team is going to have a more competitive game. Yeah. Seattle will be in the game longer with Arizona if Arizona breaks away. Then the Panthers have a shot against Cincinnati. Foreman on the season has 2 receptions.
Yeah.
The entire season, 2 receptions. I'm not going to bet on that. I cannot do that.
Okay, let's
Kenneth Walker consensus. Perfect.
It's about JJ Olave, Amon-Ra, or McLaurin.
Terry feels like a must start. They're playing Minnesota.
Ooh. Man, Terry with Taylor Heineke is something else, man.
He's a must start, man.
All 3 of these guys are must starts.
Olave is in the lineup. I don't care. Chris Olave is a literal top 20 play weekly. Amon-Ra. Let's talk about the Sun God.
Our Sun God.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. St. Brown has the capacity to have massive weeks. His biggest week, he had 2 carries for 68 yards. That's not something you can ever bank on, but he did have 2 touchdowns and 116 yards. But aside from his 2 boom weeks, the first weeks of the year, he has 13.3, 5.8, 1.4, 13.9. I think St. Brown's ceiling is limited by the offense that he occupies and even a bit by the quarterback that he plays with.
Sure.
With the options that you
fair.
have at your disposal, Terry McLaurin and Taylor Heineke love each other. Terry helped get Taylor his contract. Taylor helped get Terry his contract. They've got their money and they're balling out.
It's true. It's so true.
And then Chris Olave, newsflash, guys. Michael Thomas is probably not going to play another down of football this year. Jarvis Landry has not played a down of football in a while.
Yeah, that's where I was at too, is that with TJ Hawkinson out, Amon-Ra should see more targets. And I think that Green Bay, Lions defense is fucking terrible. They're going to give up 35 points. They're going to be a negative game script.
I'm pivoting.
That's the only problem that I have.
I'm going to pivot. We're benching Olave. I'd go Amon-Ra and McLaurin. Personally, you've got a rookie receiver going into a game against Baltimore, who just acquired Roquan Smith. Obviously, Roquan's not covering Chris Olave. But you have Marlon Humphrey. They just picked up Marcus Williams in free agency. Marcus Peters and Kyle Hamilton.
I'm pretty sure their secondary's gotten better throughout the season, too.
Precisely. And it's a rookie wide receiver against a veteran core secondary for this Ravens team. That did suck to start the year. They were hemorrhaging points.
Yeah.
But out of all the matchups we're looking at, besides Jair shadowing Amon-Ra, which I don't think is going to happen, as good as Olave is and as many targets as he should see, I think the secondary he's going against might be the best one he's seen this year.
True. I don't it is out of all the matchups, Olave has the toughest one. Even though Amon-Ra or Jair, I'm really not concerned about the Green Bay secondary at all. I like Jair Alexander. I like Roswell Douglas, but I feel like Amon-Ra will get peppered. I feel like Jared Goff has to pepper him. Who else is he peppering at this point? Especially with Josh Reynolds out. He's not going to pepper Khalif Raymond. They can run the ball, but man.
In week 1 against arguably the best corner duo in the league today, Amon-Ra put up 12 targets with 8 receptions against Philadelphia in week 1. Granted, yes, it's week 1. Crazy shit happens. But Bradbury and Slay have arguably been the best 2 corners for any unit in football in terms of a tandem. Jair and Roswell are extremely talented, but they've underperformed. I blame the coordinator a lot for Green Bay's defensive deficiencies. Personally, for me, rookie wide receiver against a veteran secondary like that and Andy Dalton tossing the ball, I don't see the upside. I totally get that Olave should have a lot of targets. I don't know what they're going to amount to. I think Amon-Ra is going to get red zone work. I think Amon-Ra is going to get short yardage, long yardage. They're going to have to use him to keep up in this game. Because if Amon-Ra is not doing it, Swift is going to have a massive day, or Khalif Raymond is going to have me bouncing my head off the walls. And Terry and Taylor are best friends. I can't bet against that. It's back-to-back weeks and a season's worth of production.
As long as Taylor Heineke exists, Terry McLaurin, it feels like a top 20.
As long as the quarterback's on the field, Terry McLaurin, talent-wise, should be a top 20 play. It's just Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz doesn't like traditional receivers. He likes wide backs, a.k.a. Curtis Samuel. The ball. Yes, correct.
Tyler Higbee. Or Bob Tonyan. Yeah.
Give me Higbee.
I'm kind of in the same spot.
Tyler Higbee is just like the bigger version of Cooper Kupp to Matthew Stafford. Take that for better or worse. He is a target machine. And at tight end, if I can rely on anything and anything alone, it's targets. Because yards come and go, touchdowns come and go, but targets are pure. And Higbee doesn't drop the ball a whole lot. So, yeah, I'm leaning
Yeah,
Higbee. He's getting
targets by
started.
week for taller Cooper Cup: 11, 9, 4, 14, 10, 2, 6.
Yeah, he's more likely to get 10 targets than he's not at this point in the season. And he's
Yeah.
not like a scrub. Tyler Higbee, talent-wise, is a top
I love
10 tight
Tyler
end in
Higbee.
football. Yeah, Tyler Higbee's amazing. I love Tyler Higbee.
But then at the same time, tight end makes no sense. So
In a must-win matchup for the Rams, where I expect the Buccaneers to try and murder Cooper Kupp every other play, I think Higbee has a decent week. I think A-Rob. I think every Rams receiver is poised to have a decent week because I think Cooper Kupp's getting just mugged.
I mean, I like Baraka says, I love the matchup for Bob Tonyan too, and I think both options are fine.
It's a pick your poison.
Like you definitely can't go wrong either way.
Tanyan's more boom bust in my eyes. I think Higbee's floor is baked into the price at this point.
Yeah.
He's given us a track record of 10. Like on Tanyan's best day, he had 12 targets against the New York Jets. Turned that into 10 receptions and 90 yards. He put up 19 points. On Higbee's best day, and that's, again, the Jets defense is nothing to shake a stick at. On Higbee's best day this season, he put up, oh, wow. Holy shit. Target merchant indeed. So Higbee's best day was against the Niners defense. He had 10 receptions, 73 yards, no scores. And Higbee has yet to score a touchdown this year.
Yeah.
He's bound to find the end zone. And I like Higbee.
I would not trade a top 5
Keep
tight
him.
end.
Keep
at
him.
all.
My thing, outside of Travis Kelce, every other tight end is volatile. Mark Andrews is as talented as Travis Kelce. Can't stay on the field right now. Dallas Goedert is less talented than those two, but he's on the field in a top 5-10 offense in football. You cannot replace that. Because, yes, Kyle Pitts is more talented than Dallas Goedert, but Kyle Pitts does not have the opportunity or the talent around him to perform like Dallas Goedert. Like, it depends on what you could upgrade in turn of trading a Dallas Goedert. If you have a backup tight end that you're confident in and you're like super thin at receiver or running back and you could get a difference maker, you could buy low on a Jamar Chase somehow, then yeah, do it. But if you're looking to laterally move to a skill position or try and upgrade your tight end, there's no upgrading over Dallas Goedert unless you're moving other pieces. But if you can buy low on a guy that's injured and gearing up for a playoff run and you have somebody at tight end, that is more than just oh my God, I hope he scores a touchdown. Welcome to the club, Foster Moreau, Taysom Hill, like those kind of guys. If you have a Higbee or somebody behind Goddard, or even a guy like Hayden Hurst, I guess, would be a decent pivot. But outside of those guys, I'm not confident in moving Goddard. I'd hold on to him with dear life.
I mean, he put up 24 on Thursday, 12 against Pitt. He only put up 4 against Dallas, but 17 against Arizona, 12 against Jacksonville, 11 against Washington, 13 against Minnesota, and 9 against Detroit. 10 points out of your tight end slot per week is perfect.
Averaging 13 points a week in PPR. If you get over 10 from a tight end any given week, you're golden. Tight end is basically just praying to God you get over 5 points per week. That I am so sorry, Ron. May God bless your soul. Oh my goodness.
Is Malik Willis starting this week?
I've read reports that he should be the starter, I think.
Ryan Tannehill. Let's see.
Didn't Willis throw it 10 times?
For another absence. Treated as a game time decision.
So
I don't like that at all.
Hear me out.
I'm listening.
So Malik Willis threw the ball 10 times, right?
Yeah, 6. Yeah, he was 6 out of 10.
Robert Woods had 2 targets for 2 receptions. That's a 20% target share. Granted, 20% of 10 total throws. If you believe what the Chiefs coaching staff was putting down 3 weeks ago, then Isaiah Pacheco is a must start, the new starting running back in Kansas City. Last time we saw him, he had 8 carries, 43 yards, no scores, no receptions. On his best day, he's 6 points. On his worst day, he is negative 0.1. You're obviously starting Elijah Moore. I can't say that with any confidence.
Are you,
That
though?
Zach Wilson's going to throw it more than 10 times. Yeah.
But hear me out. Elijah Moore played last week with Corey Davis out and got 1 target.
I understand, Austin. As someone that was on the Elijah Moore hype train this offseason, maybe I'm too committed. That was the best trade we've made this season. That thing was
not even close. We traded Elijah Moore for Dawson Knox because we were tight end begging for it, and now the guy we traded Elijah Moore dropped him.
So even with Elijah Moore's mass exodus from the New York Jets target share, he put up 9.9, 6.5, 8.9, 8.5 before something went wrong. Since then, he's put up 2.1, 0, and 0. They can't keep getting away with it.
They can't.
New England is really good. Green Bay is also really good, and Zach Wilson is not really good. Buffalo's insanely good. Tre'Davious White is still out. They're missing some of the secondary pieces. Garrett Wilson should get shadowed, and if Corey Davis is out again, if you do not start Elijah Moore this week and he puts up – this is the week where you don't start him and he puts up 15.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in the end, it's like on a scale of 1 to 10 how I feel about these players. Robert Woods is a 2. Isaiah Pacheco is a 2. And Elijah Moore is a 3. And it's like, well, I guess I'm starting the guy who I feel the best on. Like
Zach Wilson threw the ball 41 times against New England. I expect I'm expecting a similar number this coming week.
Casey
I think
if Malik makes no sense whatsoever.
If Malik Willis gets the start, because they're playing Kansas City.
Real quick, before lineups lock, I feel like this one's easy for us. I feel like we're going
Patterson, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Chargers defense, as much as Devin hates to hear it, the rush defense is still awful.
Cordero Patterson scares me
right back
in a way that's just like inherently like Cordero Patterson terrifies me.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the most respectful way possible. Cordero Patterson is going to do things to this defense that I don't want to witness. I'd probably lean. If Malik Willis is starting, I don't think you can start Robert Woods.
No,
they're playing KC, so the volume has to go up. But even then, I think Willis throws it 20 times, maybe 30 times. And we don't know how many of those times are going to the defense. Yeah, so
they're going to try and control amount of quarterback designed runs.
If Willis you can't start Robert Woods until Tannehill's back on the field.
And you could barely start him then.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be Elijah Moore and Pacheco begrudgingly because I just don't see Robert Woods having the capacity to have the volume because Pacheco could score a touchdown any given week. He could somehow get one of those little red zone flips that Mahomes gives to a running back. Elijah Moore is going to have a reception this week. I'm betting that. I'm going to put that. I'm staking the claim. Elijah Moore will have at least one reception. Hopefully that ages like a fine wine because if he goes 3 straight weeks of 0 points, I don't know what to tell anybody. I would just say Elijah Moore is no longer – you can no longer ask Elijah Moore fantasy questions until further notice.
Right.
And it's the final countdown, Austin.
It is. Just drop Pittman for Judy. Judy's stock is going up. Like he's playing better. I really don't like Michael Pittman, if I'm being honest. I didn't like him last year. He had a good year last year.
So Michael Pittman is now on waivers, is what I'm hearing.
Hell yeah.
I would love to join your league. No. So I need the context of what else you have around the roster because dropping Pittman is not a cardinal sin. Pittman's been disappointing for where he was drafted.
Well, wait. So we're talking with Coldex, and this is the same person who told us you have Etienne and Henry, you have Walker, you have Dante Foreman.
His team is pretty set,
yeah. So I feel
we don't know how many teams are in the league. To be fair,
true.
I don't roster Pittman anywhere. So if this is like a 8-team, 6-team league, dropping Pittman is within realm. With the way your roster's set up, I'm
in
assuming you
before it's
have
like
some.
a 20-man league.
And so yeah, this is actually a 32-man league, 52-man rosters, IDP with 3 kickers. It's like what? No, I like Judy's upside comparatively to Pittman.
3
I think
kickers.
so. 8-man league.
8-man league.
Most recent tweet. Yeah, if you want to drop it, I'll take a look at it. Torn between Duvernay versus Saints, Curtis Samuel versus Vikings. Ray, I'm going Duvernay. If you want to ride with me, start Duvernay. Curtis Samuel.
Duvernay has all the things going his way right now. Andrews is going to be out. Bateman's done.
In
Deshaun
standard,
Jackson only runs streaks.
In standard, my friend, Ray, I'm going to be honest with you. In standard, I'm starting Swift. I know that he doesn't get all the carries in the world. He's going to have to put up points if they're going to try and win this game. Bend over, Garrett Wilson or Michael Carter. I'm going to go ahead and tell you to go
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson, yeah. Foster Moreau or Tyler Conklin. I'm going Conklin, but I'm starting Moreau in a league, so don't be like me.
To be fair, we're rostering Darren Waller, so it's not our fault.
I didn't mean for this to happen. So let's see. So
yeah, and with Curtis Samuel, as long as Taylor Heineke exists, he's going to give Terry McLaurin more load. That probably wasn't the best sentence, but either way, Duvernay has all the things going towards him, and then you went Tyler Conklin over Foster Moreau. Yeah, Zach Wilson's going to throw the ball a shit ton, and Foster Moreau has like an okay floor, but at the same time, Conklin should see just as many targets, and then Carter or Wilson, like we said, Garrett Wilson. With Zach Wilson throwing the ball 40 times last week against New England, he should be around the same spot, throwing the ball 40 times.
I have a start-sit question, Austin, for my lineup. So I've got A.J. Dillon in my flex or Mecole Hardman. Jamar Chase is on my IR. I'm
A.J. Dillon or who?
Mecole Hardman.
A.J. Dillon. I'll start anybody against Detroit.
It's a 0.8 discrepancy. I hope Dillon.
Okay, so here's Coldex's team. So he's got two. So starting lineup is Tua, Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, Chris Godwin, Josh Palmer, Dallas Goedert, Ken Walker. The Eagles defense, Jason Myers. And his bench looks like so. Keenan Allen. Oh, I'm so sorry. Geno Smith, Christian Kirk, Dante Foreman, Deontay Johnson, Deion Jackson, and Jerry Jeudy. I might have dropped Deontay before Pittman, but either way, I think Judy's not really going to find his way in your starting lineup most weeks anyways. Like
once Keenan's back, for sure.
Yeah, he'll probably go over Palmer, and he can slide in there.
Jeudy has a far higher upside than Pittman under current construction. While yes, Jeudy has more competition, I do think Jeudy is, as of right now, the one in the Broncos passing attack. I don't hate the move, Coldex. I don't have Pittman anywhere. I've never been super high on Pittman. Pittman's biggest draw is that he's going to have insane volume because the Colts receivers just aren't good. And the quarterback has not been good for the last 2 years. So, of course, he's going to get peppered with targets. And, guys, we got about less than 60 seconds to get your lineup set. Don't pull a me and bench Jalen Hurts for Trevor Lawrence. Just don't be that guy. I already have Hurts in my lineup, so it's fine. But
pretty sure our lineup is set. Everyone on our team is either hurt or on a bye, so it's kind of hard for us.
That is a very fair point, Coldex. With Claypool getting traded, Johnson will have to get more targets.
That is true.
I'm not sold on Pickett. I'm not sold on Pickett. He's not my favorite.
Yeah, I forgot about the trade already. I was literally sick all week and like sending Devin the trades and then pretty much going to sleep after that. My brain has been fried all week.
And lineups are locked, my friends. Hopefully my Yahoo lineups are all set.
I didn't check my Yahoos at all.
To be fair, I'm reluctantly starting Brady in my 2-quarterback Superflex league.
I still can't believe I put a 400 bomb in that league last week.
Dude, I have a 18-point cushion or something against my dad, almost 20 points, and I'm trying my best. I'm 8-0 in this league, man. Averaging 322 a week.
Funny? You know what's funny is that with that 400 bomb I put up and the almost 200 bomb I put up in half PPR, I now own the biggest weeks in 2 of my leagues so far.
That's pretty sick.
Because of those. And yet those leagues are my 2 worst records right now. I am literally boomer bust.
Okay,
All
my
right.
lineups are set, so I guess that's all she wrote. If anybody has any other questions, if you have the flexibility for the 1 o'clock slate and you're concerned about a player, you can let us know. If not, I think that's about it from us. We appreciate everybody for stopping by. If your team's winning, congratulations. If they're losing, it's their fault. You drafted a great team. They just aren't performing.
Yeah, it's never our fault. Like, come on now.
And to quote our friend Tyler from earlier in this week, I saw him tweet it the other day. Best advice I can give is start the players to score more points. And I've been thinking about it all week. So hopefully y'all started the players who are going to score the most points. And if you didn't, just petition the league manager. Be like, hey, it was a London game. And they're like, there was no games in London this week. Be like, well, I'm on London time.
There was probably a game in London, maybe just not an NFL game. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, Coldex. We're here every Sunday morning going forward. So we got what, 9 more weeks to go. We're officially halfway through the regular season. Although most people won't play week 18, week 18. I'm not crazy. And then we are back here tomorrow. We'll be here at 5:30 Pacific time to do our recap and all that jazz, see how we did on our predictions and stuff, which I still haven't written down, so I'm going to have to go back and watch our episode. But if that's all you got, Devin, that's all I got.
Hey, man, I'm just, that's all I've got. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. We look forward to hearing from all you guys next time around. You were already on it. And
yeah.
blocked.
We are. I'm engaged. He's married. So
no self promo in the fantasy football start sit chat. But no, thank you to everybody for tuning in.
Those are not starts we are making.
Thank you to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate everybody for the questions. We hope that your picks went great, and if they didn't, you could always come back next week and give us another shot. So from Austin and I to everybody listening, peace.